Welcome to Sugar Daddy's Podcast, where we get real about love, money, and everything in between. I'm your host, Namon Jones, here with my co-host, Diapa Sample. What's up, D?
What's going on, Namon?
Man, they say love don't cost a thing, but what about companionship?
Hey, man, we just two grown-ass men having real talk, making real connections.
Welcome to another episode of Sugar Daddy's Podcast. That's right, Sugar Daddies with a Z. I'm your boy, your host, Big Daddy. Now, listen, if y'all been following me, y'all know I'm a man of faith, a man of character. And so I want to talk a little bit today about how we move on, but putting in a little bit of scripture with it, because everybody talks about praying, but to me, not enough people talk about watching. So recently I was reading the scripture in Matthew 26:41 to be exact, and it says, watch and pray so that you don't fall into temptation. Not just pray, watch and pray. Now, a lot of people are asking God for answers, but missing the signs. Praying for elevation, but ignoring all the red flags. Praying for new opportunities even, and still entertaining the old energy. This is where next steps comes in. Now, growth isn't just spiritual, it's strategic. Sometimes your next step is walking away. Sometimes your next step is letting go. Sometimes your next step is moving different. This isn't about being messy at all. Guys, this is about elevation. Seasons change, people change, situations change. The strongest thing you can do is recognize when it's time to move on. So that's what we're dealing with tonight, right? When do you move on? What happens in those elements of trying to move on and figuring out what the next steps are? So I want to deal with those next steps. How do we move on to the next steps? Now, before we go any further, you know how we got to plug it. Follow us on all platforms. 855 Ask Daddy is our call-in line, our sugar line. Call us, send us messages. Follow us on all platforms. Talk to us, Sugar Daddies with a Z, all right? Now, you ever feel when something is off, but you can't explain it? Those are red flags. That's your awareness. That's you watching. There's a difference between comfort and growth. There's a difference between loyalty and liability. Just because it worked before doesn't mean it works now. That's called growth. Everybody can't go where you're going. If you're growing in the right direction and you're praying, people can't go with you always. Some people are assignments, not alignments. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. Prayer is all of that. Prayer is elevating. Prayer is your growth. Now, if this is hitting you in any kind of way, you're just following us, again, link in with us, hold us down, call us, 855 Ask Daddy, follow us, tag somebody, tell somebody to tune in, pour in with us, because we're hitting it hard tonight. But what do you do in those next steps? Even in business, right? In business, watching is everything. Watching the market, watching people, watching energy, all those things are so relevant when deciding your next move. You have to know when to pivot and when to push. Stop forcing what no longer fits. Stop holding on to what already expired. You wouldn't drink bad milk. Why are you holding on to it? Your next level requires a new version of you. Prayer gives you vision. Execution gives you results. You all know it, the scripture. Prayer without works is dead. Stop forcing what God already removed. If he removed it, why are you still forcing it? Know when to shift. Know when to pivot. Stay locked in with us, y'all. Follow us again at Sugar Daddy's Podcast. That's Sugar Daddies with a Z. At Sugar Daddy's Podcast. Listen, relationships have seasons. Yeah, We know spiritual aspect. People don't want to believe that, but they do. And sometimes growth creates distance. That's not disrespect. That's simply evolution. You can love people and still outgrow the situation. Closure isn't always a conversation, guys. Sometimes it's just a decision. Peace is more valuable than history. Okay? Sometimes growth requires space. You don't want explanation. You want the opportunity to grow, to elevate, and not have to explain yourself, because that's what peace is. Peace is evolution. Peace is everything in every aspect of life, whether it's business, whether it's a personal relationship, a sugar daddy situationship, a marriage. Peace is everything, and you have to bring peace with you. And the only way that you can do that is evolving in your situation, growing in your situation, okay? So listen, when you have to overthink something and they hesitate, that's some clarity coming to your ways right there. After a decision is made, listen, whenever indecisive happens, man, that's too expensive. It plays on your mental. You don't need more confirmation. You need a commitment. And if someone is not willing to commit to you into whatever situation it is, then it's time to move on. You don't need any more red flags. You don't need any more signs that are there. If you're going to pray, believe in your prayer. Believe in what God is revealing to you in your prayer. Understand when to move on, understanding how to move on. All those things are necessary into your next steps. Now, a lot of people out here wasting time. You're dealing with confusion, entertaining the wrong energy. Let me just tell you something, sidebar. That's why we created something new, y'all. We're talking about next steps. SugarDaddies.com is coming to the scene. All right, Sugar Daddies with a Z. SugarDaddies.com is coming. You all asked where to find a sugar daddy. And guess what? If you want it, we got it. We created this because we're talking about evolution. We're talking about next steps. We're talking about how to find a sugar daddy, how to be in a position, all those different elements. So guess what? We're creating something just for you. SugarDaddies.com. Check it out. It's coming soon. We're going to be talking about it. We'll let you know when it hits. But again, that's called growth and evolution. So remember, the scripture didn't just say pray. It said watch and pray. You got to be aware. You got to be aligned. But most importantly, you got to be willing to move. Your next level, your next opportunity, your next relationship, it's waiting on one thing, your next step. So that's what you got to elevate. So what we want to do this evening as we're talking about next steps, I want to dive a little bit into our DMs. I want to have some conversations about what's going on. We had some folks to write us in. That's what gave us this whole platform this evening to talk about what next steps should look like. We had some folks to write in. They called in. We had some folks that hit our DMs. They were hitting our line, 855 Ask Daddy. They were hitting our DMs like crazy on all of our platforms. And many folks were talking about the evolution of not only growth, but the evolution of moving on and how will that work? How do you move on when you're a sugar daddy and your sugar baby is ready to walk away? What happens? What happens with the sugar baby? Did she learn anything? What happens in a marriage when next steps needs to happen? When a divorce happens? What happens in a business relationship when things don't work out and you have to move on? What happens in those next steps? Again, prayer is everything. I've had to do some myself. Believe me, I've been doing a lot of praying, a lot of trying to figure things out and understanding my next moves and my next steps, especially dealing with this app that we have developed, the site that's coming out. We're so excited about it. But with that evolution, you have to be in prayer. And that's why I started tonight's podcast off about prayer, because to me, it's everything. It's having dialogue and conversation about how to move on effectively. And guess what? Breakups happen. New evolutions and new opportunities happen all the time. But without prayer and understanding, you won't know. You won't know how to move on. You won't know how to adapt. You won't know how to even move on to the next situation. What we see all the time is people move on, but because they haven't been in prayer, but because they haven't had any real clarity, what they do is bring that same old baggage into their new situation. That's not moving on at all. That's still having a lot of baggage, a lot of weight, a lot of things from your past that will cripple you from even moving on at all. I don't care what situation you're in. If you're in a sugar daddy, sugar baby situation and you still have old baggage from before, it will hinder your progress. That's not evolution at all. You're not evolving. That's not strategic. That's stress. That's no peace. That's weighing you down. So tonight I want to dive a little bit into our DMs. Our producers told us that people were writing in like crazy and just asking us different questions that really hit home on the message of next steps. Some had some confusion. One writer even wrote in and talked about them being in a long-term relationship and it kind of got stale a little bit, and even after the conversations, but they even started a new situation and wanted some clarity on that. So one of the reasons why we want to dive in is because it does hit home on next steps and what that looks like and how to move on in a new relationship or what have you. And so we're going to dive into the DMs a little bit and see what those next steps are all about. Hey, Big Daddy. I've been rocking with the podcast for a minute and I need some real advice. I've been with my man for almost 4 years. We built a lot together, trips, memories, even talked about buying a house. But lately, it feels like we just coexist. No growth, no real effort, just comfortable. I tried to have the conversation about what's next for us, and he keeps saying, "We good where we at." But I'm not good. I feel stuck. Here's the crazy part. I recently started talking to someone new. Nothing physical, but the energy is different. He's intentional. He's talking about goals and actually asking me what I think about life. Now, I'm sitting here confused. Do I stay loyal to what I have and what I've built? Or do I take a chance on something that feels like it actually has a future? Well, anonymous writer, first of all, let me say thank you for rocking with us for a minute. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for writing in, rather. And I appreciate that. Thank you for trusting me with giving you some sound advice from, I guess, a sugar daddy's perspective. So let me say this. First of all, this isn't just about relationships. It's also about business. It's also about growth. It's about knowing when the course has run its end. Now, let me say this to you, anonymous caller. What I'll say to you is this. First of all, you're adding confusion into your situation by having someone new without even ending or having clarity on where it's going in your current situation. You say you're stale and stuck. You don't have to be. You're choosing to be. Why do I say that? Well, I don't have enough information in the letter if it's finances or if there are other things that are allowing you or causing you to have the type of confusion that you're having. You didn't say if you were so unhappy. It just said that you feel like you're stuck and you won't grow in evolution. So I say, yeah, try to have the conversation. It appears that you've tried. I don't know about how much effort you've tried in. Maybe try a little bit harder. Maybe try another approach. What I will say, though, bringing someone else new into the equation isn't the answer. It's going to bring more confusion. Your heart is going to go to other places and take up other percentages that you're not getting from your current situation. What do I mean by percentages? You heard the saying, the 80-20 rule. Most of us chase the 20% we're not getting from the 80% of the person that we are getting from. And let me say this. It sounds like to me you're chasing that 20%. And if that's going to stagnate your growth to go into the 80 that he may or may not be given, then I think you got to deal with that situation from that perspective. But I'd clean it all up first. Have some real clarity. Know when to move on, because your next steps is predicated upon how you operate in the current steps you're in. Fix where you are, then move on completely. I think if you have that open conversation where you are first and having real clarity, you have the boldness to either walk away or to stay. But I think you can give yourself some answers by having the right conversations at the right time. But bringing another person in the situation, in the equation, it's going to bring more confusion and more chaos. So I hope I answered your question. And again, thank you, and write in again. I want to go to another DM. This writer that wrote in, it's actually from a male. He's divorced. He is dating, been dating for about a year, and I'm going to dive into it a little bit because this is a little bit different. And his next steps is predicated upon whether or not he still wants to remain in this thing from a commitment perspective or not. So let's dive into it a little bit, shall we? Big Daddy, I'm 52, divorced, got a good job, no real stress. I've been dating this woman for about a year. She's great, no drama, good energy, but she's starting to push for marriage. Truth is, I like my life the way that it is. I don't want to answer to nobody, don't want the pressure, but I don't want to lose her either. Am I wrong for wanting to keep things how they are? Signed, comfortable but conflicted. Well, listen, comfortable but conflicted. Let me say this to you. I don't think you're wrong for wanting what you want. What I will say is you're a little selfish. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way. I think you're choosing your peace over commitment. Now, she's pushing for marriage because she wants to grow. She wants to go beyond where you all are. And I can't blame her for that. I can't blame her if she wants marriage. If that's not what you want, I think you need to have that conversation. I think you really need to put your big boy drawers on, sit her down, and tell her what you want. Now, your big boy drawers is going to come with a lot. We're talking about next steps. Next steps, you have to be prepared for that in one way or the other. Your next steps in this situation, comfortable but confused, your next steps may be that she walks away because it sounds like she's very clear. It sounds like she knows what she wants. It sounds like she knows exactly where she's headed and what she feels in her heart. I believe that she must love you if she's talking to you about marriage. I don't know the entire dynamics. You say you have a good job and all those things, so you say she's great. So I don't see that there is a situation where she's after money or she's trying to get you one way or the other. So what's the real problem? Is it that you wanting to date somebody else as well? You want to have an open relationship? What's the fear of the commitment? You say it's been about a year. Everything is amazing. Everything is good. So what is it? What's that peace going to do to you? Is it that she brings you peace or not? To me, when you settle down with that special someone, that should bring you peace. That should bring a clarity of your life better than anything ever that you can imagine. And if you don't think that you can get that with that person that you're partnering with, then 100% you shouldn't marry that person. I don't believe two people should get together. To me, that's where it talks about being unequally yoked. Two people that get together that have different visions, no clarity, don't know where the relationship is going. Those opportunities there, what I see is that have real conversations. Those conversations are needed to be had because if you want to be single or not married, that's single, right? And she wants to be married, but you don't want to remain in that relationship, I don't know if that will work well. Because if she's head over heels about being married and you're not, you're unequally yoked. That's not going to work. That's going to create confusion and conflict. I know that you're confused because you don't want to leave her. But you got to ask yourself, what is it about her that you don't want to answer to? Is that how you view it, that you're answering to somebody? Or do you view it that you really want to partner with somebody? I think you need better vision and clarity on what marriage really is to you. Because it could be a good thing. I know that you're divorced. And again, we're talking about next steps. What have you done to prepare for the next steps, even in the current relationship you're in? I'd ask yourself this, because you wrote in, and I don't have enough information about any of your past, of course. But I'd ask you this question. Are you bringing any of your bad luggage or your energy or any of the scenarios from your previous marriage into this situation? Are you thinking about all the bad and negative things that took place in your first marriage that may affect your decision-making process in this second marriage? because those are distractions as well. What you must do, if I could give any advice at all, is completely move on in the next direction of next steps by completely removing any of the negative things that happened in your previous relationship and honing into all the good things that make you love her now. Look at it from a perspective of real partnership, not something that's a parental-like guidance, right? What do I mean by that? You said in your letter that you want to answer to anybody. I don't think relationships are answering to anybody. I do believe it's about accountability. I do believe there's a level of respect, a level of accountability that both parties deserve because you're in a relationship. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, then that accountability should be there. I believe every one of us, if we're going to be in any type of relationship, that's business, that's cordial friendship relationship, best friend relationship, big daddy relationship with a sugar baby, anything that we delve ourselves into when it comes to relationships, we should have a level of expectation where there is a respect for one another, and that respect factor is accountability. For you to have next steps, to move on, to really have some real clarity in the current relationship you're in, I would examine yourself and your heart to figure out, are you completely over that first relationship? Are you completely over that previous marriage? Because it sounds like to me there's some baggage there. It sounds like to me you haven't moved on from the previous relationship. Yeah, I know you're divorced. And when I say move on, I'm not necessarily suggesting that you still have feelings. I'm not suggesting that you want to be back with your ex. But when I say move on, there's been no real closure. Why? Because to me, it sounds like you're bringing old baggage, old junk into this current relationship that's making your decision whether or not you marry this beautiful woman, as you explained it in your letter, whether you move on or stay with her. So that would be my advice to you. Get some real clarity. Look at your previous relationship and examine yourself to figure out what it is that you want in this new relationship. Because guess what? If you don't have real vision and real clarity for this new woman, you're going to lose her. And I don't care what it is. Be honest with her. Allow her to help you make the decision. How do I mean with that? If you're just open and honest with her, I guarantee you she'll help assist you in your decision-making process. You'll have real clarity to know whether she's for it, not for it, whether she's open to it or not open to it. She'll give you real understanding whether she's going to ride with you or not, if she's going to be your ride or die. Whatever it is that you need from her, you just need to have open conversation with her. But don't make your decision based off of your previous relationship. I know what that's like. I was married. I was married for well over 20 years. Had a great relationship. It was cool. I had some bad things in it, had some great things. But we were kind of unequally yoked as well. Things happened and transpired. Where my failures were, though, is that I wasn't open and honest in a lot of the conversations. I had to grow as well. And that's called maturity. When you really mature and elevate in your relationship, whether you're married, whether you're in a relationship, sugar baby, sugar daddy, it doesn't matter. Business, when you really mature, you understand this one thing. And I'll ask this question to all of you all. Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? And so in situations, you got to examine yourself and figure out what it is that's going to make me happy in this relationship. What's going to make me happy in this situation? It isn't always about being right. It is always about elevating and growing. And that's called maturity. So again, I appreciate you writing in, confused. But guess what? You don't have to be confused anymore. Have the conversation. Have open dialogue. Be honest. Tell her how you feel. You don't want to lose her, but you owe it to her. She deserves to hear from you. She's been rocking with you for a year. That's plenty of time. Are you dating for a purpose? Are you dating for it to go further? What are you dating for? So have a conversation with her. You don't no longer need to be confused. I don't see confusion in your future there. Have a conversation. Be open. Have open dialogue. And I think you can fix that situation. Again, thank you for writing in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Again, at Sugar Daddy's Podcast. You got to follow us on all platforms. Write into us. All platforms. Sugar Daddy's Podcast with a Z. Call us 855-ASK-DADDY. 855-ASK-DADDY. Tonight, we're talking about next steps. What does that look like in your relationship? Next steps to move on. Next steps to when you're out of a relationship. How to deal with even in your current relationship when it's over, when it's done. How to know when it's done. When to move on. What do those next steps look like? Listen, we got time for one more. And the reason why I want to dive into one more, because sugar daddy's here, sugar daddy's, big daddy here. We're pivoting. We're pivoting as well. We're moving into a new element. We talked a little bit about it on this podcast, sugardaddies.com, the new app being developed, more to come. I don't want to give too much, but it's coming. And so as we elevate and evolve, I want to talk about this next one who came in from a business perspective. And again, we love y'all so much. Thank you all for writing in because it shows me that you all are looking at us from every aspect, not only from a relationship perspective and a sugar daddy scenario, but also from a business perspective. Because if you followed us, we talked about, this is not a cheap man's game by any means necessary. We also talked about being financially able and being qualified to be a sugar daddy. So I'm grateful for this next one because it's coming at us from a business perspective, okay? And again, next steps evolves and is in every aspect of life. It's not just relationships. It's business as well. So I want to take some time to dive into this next scenario where we're talking about next steps from a business aspect, okay? So let me dive into this next one. Hi, Big Daddy. I've been running my business for 6 years. It's doing okay. Steady money, same clients, nothing crazy. But I feel like I've hit a ceiling. I keep saying I want to scale, but I haven't made any real changes. Part of me is scared to take the risk and lose what I already have. How do you know when it's time to level up instead of playing it safe? Signed, Stuck But Stable. Listen, Stuck But Stable, again, let me first say thank you for calling in. Thank you for writing in. I really do appreciate it. Stuck, I don't know if you're stuck. Stagnant maybe, but not stuck. Stable is allowing you to be stuck. You're looking at the glass half empty versus looking at it half full. You're already thinking about, well, what if this doesn't happen? But what if that doesn't work out? Well, what if it does? Knowing when to operate and move on in next steps of the business is knowing when you're really able to scale. If you're ready to scale, then scale. You ready to grow? Let's grow. It sounds like to me in your letter that you're holding yourself back. My question to you is why? What's holding you back? Is it fear? Is it the unknown? I know what that's like. Let me tell you all this. As you all know, I'm an entrepreneur. I run my own advertising agency. I run my own company. We have this podcast. We have a number of things happening. And I'm excited about that, happy about all those things. It takes a lot for us to put these things together. But let me tell you, it is scary as hell. And if you're not scared, you ain't doing something right. It is a little scary. But if you want to elevate and grow, then you got to put forth the work and the effort. If you want to really grow your business and scale, do that. Do the necessary steps to make that happen. Write the vision, make it plain. Write the vision, make it plain. You got to write a vision for your business, make it plain enough for you to understand it and read it so that you can run with it, so that others can read it and run with your vision. If you want to scale it, scale it. What are you confused about? You said you're stable. So that's telling me that you have revenue coming in. That tells me that you have your stable and your clients that are steady. Good. Now, whatever you did in that, double that. How do you do it? Double your efforts. Whatever you did, I heard Steve Harvey say this one time. Shout out to Steve. He said, if you made $100 before, whatever you did to make that $100, double it. Make 200. When you make that 200, all the efforts that you did to make that 200, whatever you did, double those efforts so you can make 400, so forth and so on. My point is, in being steady, and having clients that are remaining with you, that tells me that you don't have much attrition. That tells me that you must have a steady, viable business. Now it's time to elevate. Your next steps, grow it. Your next steps, talk it through. Your next steps, call somebody like me who has an advertising agency who can help you grow your brand. Again, I know that it's scary. I know that especially if you've worked a 9-to-5 corporate scene and corporate setting for so long, you're used to a steady paycheck. You're used to someone paying those bills for you. But guess what? When that runs dry and you're running your own business like you are, you got to step up like never before. You got to eat, sleep, and breathe your business. You got to do what you don't want to do to get ahead. I'm telling you what I know. So no time to be afraid. It's time to now jump on out there. It sounds like you already are. Now it's time to go deeper. Time to go deeper. Go get your life jacket. Dive on out there a little bit further. Go up into the deep, in the depth of the ocean, and go get it. It sounds like there's a lot of clients out there for you. Go get it. Don't worry about the fear. Again, I started out this podcast about praying. Prayer overcomes that. Pray over your business. Pray over your relationships. Pray over your contracts. Pray over your finances. Pray. I'm telling you, it changes things. But as you're praying, you got to watch. Watch what's happening in your business. Watch the growth areas. We just talked about it earlier. Watch the market. Watch your competitors. Watch what's happening. You want to elevate? Elevate. I just gave you some nuggets. Go and get it. Again, I appreciate you calling in so much. I appreciate you writing in so much, more than ever. Those of you all that are tuning in, call us, 855-ASK-DADDY. Write us on all platforms. Tune in to us at Sugar Daddies with a Z, at Sugar Daddies Podcast. Follow us on all platforms. We appreciate you more than you know. This has been a great episode, you all. Next steps, follow us, follow us, follow us. Some great things are coming out next. SugarDaddies.com, SugarDaddies.com. Until next time, I love you all. I appreciate you. This has been a real one. Sugar Daddies Podcast. Real talk, real connections.